Hey, what is up everybody? I think it is time to go ahead and start a little bit of the construction of the coop, at least get the base of it started, start seeing how this is all going to come together. But I want to get some of the main base infrastructure built today. So yeah, I'm going to get started. Hey, what is up everybody? I think today is going to be the day to go ahead and get started with the chicken coop. I don't know if I'm going to finish it. I'm definitely not going to finish it. There's too much to do, but there could be a chance where I'll be able to actually get chickens in there, but probably not. I got my hopes sitting a little bit high, but I at least want to get the base pretty much done. And the rest of it should be pretty easy, but I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Son of a bitch. It was solid. So I know the lighting's not the best, but basically got all my stuff together, got what tools I think I'm gonna need for now. I'm probably gonna have to go back and get stuff. I'm probably gonna have to get more supplies from Lowe's. But let me step out of the way, and this is basically the layout. So obviously I need to push the side that you're looking at to the left in closer and get it all more symmetrical, but that is basically gonna be it. That's gonna be the 16 foot plus the extra 4 foot. So yeah, it should be a monster, but for now I'm gonna put that stuff aside and I'm gonna start getting the main post in the ground, and that's step one. So let's get started. So I basically have that stuff. I got the post cut. I don't know if I'm gonna need more. I'm kind of worried a little bit about the 6x6, whether it's gonna be enough, but we will see. The 4x4 should be good. I only need it for 2 spots, so it's gonna be in the center where the 2x6s join, and I'm just gonna be able to tap those into the 4x4 basically. So now the first thing, the next thing is gonna be putting the floors in. So I wanna go ahead and take care of that. I'm gonna have to drag an extension cord out here because I'm gonna need a saw. Not sure how I'm gonna cut it yet, but yeah, I'm gonna get those into place, get them tacked down so we have a floor in the bottom of the coop. Always forgetting tools. My extension cord isn't gonna reach to where I can really work right by the area, so I'm gonna do a little bit closer here so I don't have to go hunt down another extension cord to get another 15 or 20 feet. So it is what it is. So what I'm gonna do, I have 2x4s for the frame on the inside of the coop, so I need to cut 2 notches for the 2x4s on both pieces of wood, but I know I'm gonna have to trim one of the pieces of wood, so actually I might have to bring a skill saw out here to do that a little bit better. door is upside down, so that's something I'm gonna have to do is flip the wood around, remount all the brackets and hinges and all that kind of stuff and get that fixed too. But time to get the flooring in here. Haha, wrong side. As you can see, it's still pretty windy outside, but I don't know why I didn't build it this way to fit two 4x8 pieces of plywood in perfect, but it doesn't fit. So what I'm gonna do is get up underneath, make some marks on it, and then I'll know where to cut. Yeah, buddy. I got everything cut. It's fitting pretty good. It wasn't a perfect cut. I'm horrible with the skill saw. But now I was just talking and we want to reinforce where we're going to be entering into the coop, which is going to be in the back where I was loading the wood in. So I'm going to throw an extra 2x4 reinforcement in there. I'm going to go cut it real quick inside. I'm not going to take you with me. It's kind of a pain. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get that cut, set, get it measured, all that good stuff. So that'll be a little bit better. Plus it's gonna give a little more support, like once we got some weight inside there, if we ever decide to. Having those little cross members and stuff like that's gonna give some extra support. So then I'll go in and I'll start tapping it down and we should be good to go for the floors. All right, so now I got that reinforced, I can start tapping down the floor to the supports and pretty much be done with it. Now we're trying to think of some sort of base layer to put on the floor of this just to make everything a little bit easier. Cleaning and stuff like that, because I'm gonna be keeping this a little bit cleaner than I have been in the past. So we're thinking about going with rubber mats. Do them in strips to where you can pull the strips out, clean them off, shake them off. Take a hose to it, spray it, throw it back in, clean, good to go. New hay, new substrate, boom. What do you guys think about that? Have you used rubber before? And what do you guys use? I'd like to know, leave a comment. So I was working on it a little bit before, but I have a cattle panel completely buried under a whole bunch of grass that's overgrown. It's been a pain in the butt to get it this far, and I'm maybe halfway, but I got to get this torn up real quick and making sure I'm recording and get that moved over so I can get a little more of my supplies and tools and stuff in the right area. And I've also got some plywood over here that's basically rotted away. I bought it and nothing, so maybe I can get some use for that. I don't know. Nothing right now, nothing for the coop, but I'm gonna try to get this up. All right, that was a heck of a lot easier doing it that way. Just had a last minute idea to just go ahead and peel it up and pull it. Yeah, it worked pretty good. It took a while to get to that point though. I loosened it first. So yes, I'm gonna get this moved on over there and we'll go from there. Well, that could have really dug in my shins. All right, got that. All right, these are gonna be the top boards. All right, so it looks like I measured it pretty well. I got about 3 inches extra on the cattle panel. Now I can either butt it up with the other one that's going to be on that coop, or overlap it a little bit and tie it together with whatever means I have. But I do want a little bit of extra playroom, basically, room to play around with, make sure it fits good and all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna have to cut those poles that I took down with the chainsaw, make sure it's gonna be tall enough and all that kind of stuff, make sure I don't have to go buy a little more lumber. But I did get a 12-foot 4x4 for just a couple dollars at Lowe's because it was a coal piece. It was snapped in half and they were actually trying to charge me for 2 boards, and yeah, but I got a good deal on that. So always just a reminder to look in the coal section, see what they got for junk wood. Might just be usable. So yes, it looks like the 6x6 is going to be long enough. I'm just gonna have to take the chainsaw to it, cut it in half the best I can. I'll use those for the far entranceway post, just to support, nothing decorative. But I'm gonna bury down the most that I can. I might not be able to bury it as much as I want, but those things are heavy and that's gonna hold a lot of support down on the ground anyway. But I don't know, we'll see. I'd rather use a 6x6 just because of its heftiness. And I don't know, I might be able to pound some 2x4s down in the ground or something like that and screw it to the 6x6. I don't know, there's gonna be ways to do it. I also thought of another mounting idea. It might need a little bit of support, so I was thinking up at the top, running a board across the top, almost like a greenhouse, for a little extra support to keep it from going like this. It's gonna be good like this, but keep it going like that. And it'll also give me an anchor point to tie into the top of it, pull it down to the ground to keep everything grounded. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know exactly how I'm gonna do it. I could throw concrete in the ground with eye hooks and stuff like that, like I was saying, but yeah, we'll see. At least this will be a dual purpose. But that's gonna be after pretty much everything's constructed, and I'll look into it then, see what I'm dealing with. So as of now, I think it is about time to start digging. Now that should stiffen up quite a bit after I get all the 2x6s, 2 layers of 2x6s, fencing, chicken wire, and hardware cloth. Everything is going to add a layer of stability to it, so I'm not too worried about it right now. All right, so I got my poles in the ground. There's the middle one, there's the back one, there's this one here. Everything's kind of in the shade. And then this one here. All right, so now I'm gonna start tacking down the very bottom of it all. See how it's starting to play out. If that goes good, I'll go ahead and do the top one as well. I'm gonna have to tack directly in this way. So I'm gonna start with some 45-degree nails going in, because I don't wanna go on the outside or the inside. Obviously the inside I can't do too much, but the outside, I just don't want to deal with it. So I'm gonna go straight in, keep all the numbers right, and hopefully it all comes out fairly square. I'm not too good at all the number and mathing and all that crap, but hey, you know, I'm gonna give it a shot and I'm gonna do the best I can. So I'm gonna go straight in with it there, and now I'm gonna start tacking in this bottom part. So I'm just sinking one in a little bit here just to keep it in place. I'm not going to worry too much about finishing everything off quite yet. All right, so I got the bottom line going out. I don't have that far end piece tacked. I'm gonna have to put 2 more posts in the ground, or I'm just gonna have to fuse it together with another 2x6 or something, or do something like that. I might not need a post there, which is the last 4 feet down there. If you can even see it, it's kind of dark. Yeah, so anyway, I've got a very good idea what I'm looking at. I think I'm gonna have to move the post around a little bit at the very end, which is gonna be the entrance, but I've got a good idea where I'm at right now, and the sun's starting to go down. It's pretty bright right now, but starting to go down. I think I'm gonna go in. Still got shopping to do, some chores to do, stuff like that. Got to cook dinner, eat, all that good stuff. So yeah, made a little bit of progress today. I got the floors in the bottom of the coop, got this all laid out. Tomorrow's another day. I'm gonna finish off tomorrow, so it'll be tomorrow right now. All right, well, it's not tomorrow. In fact, it's about a week later. We got a whole bunch of storms that came in. It's just been kind of unfavorable conditions and haven't really been too motivated, especially with the cooler weather in the morning that we've had. It's warming up lately. It's gonna be 75 today and 82 tomorrow. So absolute beautiful weather for being outside and building some stuff. I didn't get a whole lot done in the meantime. I came out a couple times, but I mean, you're barely gonna be able to see it. Let's kind of move it down. Yes, there we go, a tiller. Yes. And I think I brought up the tiller before, that it was something I was gonna bring on over. Well, I ended up running along this area over here, just to kind of loosen everything up a little bit so it's easier to dig, and that was a game changer because it's pretty compact here. It's an old coop area and it's a lot of clay, so it's just really, it makes it kind of tough. So using the tiller really helped a lot. Today I got my weed barrier, so I'm gonna go ahead and get that box cracked open, get that unwound, lay a little bit out, and see if I can start tacking it up. One I'm gonna use today is my slightly grassy crown stapler. This has been pretty much a game changer as far as lightweight tasks. Highly recommend it. But I got to get this all rolled out and get everything in place. I'm going to try cutting it with sheet metal cutters. We'll see how that goes. If not, I got other stuff to do. A lot of people use a grinder. I don't feel like dragging that all out and just having more stuff out here. I still got like all my tools in the shop area right there. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But I'm gonna break this open, start getting it tacked. Some nice, beautiful 1/4 inch hardware cloth. Nothing better be able to get through that. All right, so I got some stuff laid out. Should be plenty to do all of this, but might do fencing on the inside as well. Might do a dual layer. But yes, 10 snips. See if it works. But if you've ever worked with hardware cloth, you know this stuff tries to kill you on a regular basis. So already bleeding, 2 spots. All right, that was not too bad, but just poked myself on the exit right there, and you know, a little bit of blood right there, but that cut through it like butter. That's a good thing. Now go ahead and lift this thing up and start tacking it. I should have roughly 8 to 10 inches below the bottom 2x6. Then I'm gonna bury, and that's gonna be that little trench that I dug right there. So, all right, so there we go. I got one side up. Once I started on it, it was kind of a little bit difficult fighting the wind. I mean, it's not too windy, but it's a little bit breezy out here. So I just went ahead and ran with it. Tacked about 6 staples on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different places on the top just to hold it in place and see how it's all gonna fit. And I'm looking like I got about 6 to 8 inches maybe down on the bottom for security. Not sure if that's gonna be enough or not. I'm gonna have to think about that, but I'm gonna start tacking down the bottom. Now the only negative I've seen with this guy right here is when it gets down to 5 staples, it stops working. So yeah, you don't get those last staples. A little bit of a waste. Anyway, still works good. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and show you what I got going on so far. Basically got the rolled out the distance here. I went, that's about a foot extra. Where are we at? Right here. Then I'll be able to wrap around, or I just have a little bit of playroom. The other side down here, I didn't do any of that because I'll do that for the back piece. But yeah, tacked it all the way along the top. I got a little bit of a crease right here, but I'm kind of running the bottom boards along with the ground. I'm not leveling it. I'm just doing it kind of ghetto style in a way, but still works pretty good. I think it's going to be better for keeping predators out and stuff like that. But that was tacking the bottom down. I got that crease and ran that all the way down over here. Now I'm going to tack it down on the very bottom right there, which I haven't done yet, but because I got to figure out how I'm going to integrate the end of this to the other piece. So I just want to leave it open, no reason to finish it. But this, I don't have the wood down at the bottom, so I just stuck it under the ground and buried it. And it ain't pretty, but I think it would work. And it might even be a good idea to put some bricks on the outside or something like that, just to weigh it down. But good solid 8 inches, if you can see right here. Good solid 8 inches of protection going around, which is pretty good, I think. Sure, you can always get more and more secure as you go along, but again, sorry for the bumpy handheld shots here, but this is what it's looking like on the inside. Pretty clean, if I don't say so myself. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do this other side here. I also jacked up this corner. If you can tell, let me back up a little bit. Here we go. So as you might be able to tell, the coop is level. So I brought my jack out here, gave it a quick lift, and got that 2x6 underneath. There's my jack, and there's the 2x6. So I just stuck it under here. Surprisingly, I was able to grip it right on the bottom of that 2x4 support, and it worked. So hey, all good, all good. I am now level. Actually, this back one could use a little lift too, but I'm more worried about the stability of this piece up here. So I want the front as level as I can. Got this whole side tacked up. Now it is kind of bending a little bit. It's not level from the back to the front because I'm running it along with the ground, but that's the consequence of it, is you get little crinkles. So this is how much I got from my barrier here. Maybe the shade might be okay. Running all the way down here, I got about 18 inches or so. You can probably see it better in the sun, or somewhat of the sun. So yeah, a good solid 8 inches underneath the framework of it. So hopefully any diggers that decide to come in and terrorize my chickens, once again, it's gonna have a very difficult time. Hoping, got my fingers crossed. All right, so I'm gonna do the back end of it, lay all that down. Then I have to come on up here and probably build kind of a frame like that on either side, you know, and then have the door, coming in right here, and then the top will be way up yonder. So yeah, I'm gonna get the back done and try to figure out something for the front to be able to mount a door to get in this place. All right, so I didn't get a whole bunch done today, but I did get a little bit today. Sun's already going down. It's behind clouds right now, so I mean, it's a little deceiving on camera, but we got a couple hours of daylight left. But yeah, I'm not ready to do that. That's going to be a whole day. So what it's going to be is that coop over there that currently has all the birds is going to have to get transferred over to here. Now once it gets transferred over to here, this is it. That's their final home. So once I do that, I have to disassemble the other one and then get this one up. So that's going to be a good solid day, I think, to do that. I'm not going to be pushing it too hard. I'm not working my literal ass off. I'm doing a little bit here and there and getting it done. I got multiple other projects going on with 2 different gardens and garage issues and all kinds of stuff. So I'm just trying to dabble in a little bit so I don't burn myself out too quick. But yeah, coming along. As you can see, got the full sides done and the back is done. The back I mostly went straight down with the hardware cloth, so it's about 8-9 inches straight down. So I think that's a pretty good scenario too, but it was a lot easier to do it back there in the back than it was on the sides for some reason. But yeah, I got all the dirt piled back on top of the excess, packed it down by foot, and that should be pretty good. Now at some point it might be good to go ahead and put some pavers or something cheap, because I mean, I'm not really going for looks, I'm going for protection. So rocks or something like that to run around the perimeter of this, just to further stop any sort of digging or anything like that. Finger would be crossed on it, because raccoons, they might, you know, start an Olympic game of throwing those rocks over the fence so they can dig under. Who knows, the raccoons. So so anyway, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and close it for the day, and once again it'll continue on till tomorrow. There you go, and poof. Hey, welcome to tomorrow. Actually, nah. Well, the next day, nah, next week. Yeah, it's about a month and a half later at this point. So yes, that's a huge jump. And as you can kind of see a little bit behind me, some things have happened. So everything's been finished up and I've been able to put it to the test. The reason why it's not the next day is, well, the next day it was raining. The day after that was like 50-mile-an-hour winds. The day after that I fixed my garden. The day after that, the day after that, the day after that. So I basically was able to get out here and work for an hour, work for maybe 2 hours or something like that, in between breaks in the rain and just the times that I could. Plus I got a lot of other stuff going on too, trying to get the garden done and all that. So that's why it is like a month later, but it is complete, it is livable, it is full, if you want to say full of chickens, full of the chickens that I have left. And yeah, it's all done. So there you go. Okay, so the whole front piece, from the bottom, the door frame, the door, the supports and everything like that, came directly off of the other coop. The only difference I had to do is I didn't set the 2x4s correctly. So this is about 4 inches smaller, so I shaved off a little bit there. Now the door is offset. I changed my mind halfway through building it. I took it off on one side to favor the other, and with the supports on the inside, I was thinking it might be cool to put a little storage area or something like that just in the front. Changed my mind on it, but I'm still set up to where I can pretty much do that at any time. I can just build a box and a lid and whatever, nice and easy. But all the chicken wire and everything is done. I just added a support there on either side, and that's it. I don't have the support up on the top. On the other coop, that was connected to the cattle panel, so that gave it the support. This, I don't have the support, so I wanted to add in a little bit extra there, and I have it attached really well to the fencing around that. And that completes the frame to it. The next thing I did, in fact, let's go ahead and go inside. All right, so I will point out on the back of the door section right here, I have our rooster. Now this is a rooster. It was like the second day that we moved into this house, our neighbors were moving out, and they were pretty sloppy and all that, and they dropped some shit right in front of our driveway when they were moving off of their trailer. And ironically, the closest thing to the house and one thing that was left after everything got picked up was this rooster, and thought maybe it's a sign, maybe it's a demon, I don't know, with my luck so far. But yeah, I kept it, so I got the rooster back, and I also have a trail cam. I'm setting this at nighttime. After I come to put the chickens up, I walk out, come in here, flip the switch, give it a close, go about my night. That way anything that's going to be in here and possibly things that are going to be moving on the outside might get picked up. I just have it on photo right now, because I'm not expecting really any action at all. But if there is any action, hopefully that's going to be able to catch in. At least I'll be able to find out if it's a raccoon, skunk, aliens. We'll find out through the camera. So this right here was going to be the area. It's a little bit bigger. I was just going to square it off, put something down there. The supports didn't line up like I thought, so it kind of took a little bit of the room. I can fix that, but also a lot of different ways. I could just put triangular panels on the back of that and have it an open kind of area for storage, but not sure what I'm going to do with that, but that was the reasoning behind that. And the other one is about a foot shorter, thinner, so that wasn't going to be used. So yeah, we'll see how that goes, but just to show you since I'm here. So this is the inside. Let me go ahead and go around and kind of show you how I put the rest of it together. I'm not even sure if it was on yet, but down around the whole base frame set down here is all 1/4 inch hardware cloth. On the hardware cloth I used a crown stapler, and I think they're 1-inch staples, maybe 3/4 inch staples. I'd actually have to go look, but fairly significant in size. Worked very, very well. I stapled it like a madman. Yeah, it's just got the tap on it, so I was just pop, 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 pop. I mean, everywhere I could. The problem with it is on its lowest setting, it was still a little too powerful. So there was probably 25% of them I broke through the hardware cloth, but power in numbers. So let's talk about the whole structure. The frame is done. I got the hardware cloth all the way around it. I added hardware cloth to the front. That wasn't there. It was just chicken wire, and the chickens were safe that way, but I took an extra layer. Plus fencing around the whole top. But maybe I'll come back around to the front, but I'm saying it just in case I forget to do that. So I disassembled the whole other chicken coop. I used most of the wood. I used 16-foot 2x4s pressure treated for the ground and the frame of it. Those I don't know if I'm going to use. There is a little bit of rot with it over 4 years of being in a swamp. I can't blame it. Other than that, it has still worked pretty good. And it might be able to be used for, I don't know, a stand in a chicken coop or something else on the homestead. So I went ahead and I put the cattle panels on. I started with just one side, mounted it to where it can swivel using plumbing hanging tape or hangers tape, plumber's tape, the metal strips. I probably got one laying around here, to be honest. And then I bent it up into shape and then mounted the other side. So these little strips worked really, really well. I have 2 on either side, 2 screws, so it's 4 screws holding in each side. Not a whole lot, but it's working. I can always come through if I get some sort of compromise on the structure of this. Very easy to come in and add to it. Very easy. It's awesome. So I used it with the first one and everything held up, no problems with it, nothing, no screws pulled through the holes or anything like that. So it worked out pretty good, so I used it again. On top of that, zip ties. I used a lot of zip ties. The whole other coop was almost built on zip ties. So every place hardware cloth, chicken wire, or cattle panels touch anything, it is zip tied. Is it a good idea? I don't know. I don't know. The other coop, I had maybe 5 to 10% of the zip ties broke in a 4-year period. Those were the ones that were exposed to the sun all the time and just ended up dry rotting. So are they gonna work? I don't know. I'm gonna roll my dice to say yeah. I still have a couple more packs of 500. I got a pack of 1,000. All the basic like 1-foot zip ties. Again, I should probably have one around here. I tried to clean. I know I have more cleaning to do in here, but oh. These zip ties right here. There you go. You can probably see it up against the sky. So just typical zip tie. Nothing super strong, nothing super whatever. Just a regular zip tie. They're working fine. So on the front, you're not really going to be able to see it, but I used fencing on the front. This is fencing that I had left over from doing all the other fences around here. And I tried to use as many things that I had right here on the land, in storage, wherever, without having to buy much. That's what homesteading is about. That's what SHTF is going to be about, is efficiently using everything that you have stored, whether it's food or tools or supplies or anything like that. So I kind of wanted to put my own skills to the test to find out what I can use, what I can't use. And honestly, I didn't buy a whole lot. I bought a couple, no, I got a coal piece of 4x4 that I used 2 pieces of. I cut down other 4x4s, so basically the 2x6s is all I had to buy. Even the 2x4s and stuff I had on hand. But anyway, with the front, I used fencing that was left over. I wanted to try to reuse some things that I had, scrap parts. Didn't take a lot. The whole thing is about 8 feet wide, so I didn't need a lot of fencing. At the edge of the fencing, I'm cutting a dome, so there's no square cuts, there's no even cuts. So you get a lot of the pieces of the fence that are just hanging out there with nothing to grab onto, no other perpendicular piece of metal to be welded to or anything like that as you cut. So I cut it about 2 inches bigger, and what I did is I wrapped all the spiky pieces around the cattle panel to where it is facing out like violence towards the outside. So if something's going to try to come up to this corner right here, anywhere around, I should say the seam, anywhere around this front piece, well, they're going to be met with a little bit of resistance right there that they're going to have to figure out what to do. I also did that. I had a little bit of a gap. Everything is buried. Everything's pretty much fine, but I do have a gap that could intrigue a raccoon or something like that. So I piled pieces of the scrap. I wrapped around in circles and just kind of mangled it and crammed it down in that area, just so if they even think about it, yeah, they're going to come up with more resistance. So after I skinned the whole thing with the cattle panels, I went over it with the same stuff I got from the other coop, the chicken wire, ran the chicken wire across. Now, I ran this on the ground. I ran the frame of it on the ground, so it is at a little bit of a tilt. The other one was pretty flat. So as I got to the lower part of the frame, I was starting to run out of room for the cattle panel. So I had to kind of adjust everything the best I could to even it out a bit. So in certain spots, the chicken wire is going to be a little bit short. That's kind of okay. And in other spots, came all the way down, like up here at the front. But I went ahead and skinned the whole thing with chicken wire, zip ties, and I also used hog clamps on it. Just like 3 per area around the cattle panels, and to attach the chicken wire in a couple spots as well, because that's just the time that I did it. So then after that, I went ahead and I got half-inch hardware cloth to go ahead and put on top of that. So I got 3 layers. I got the cattle panels, chicken wire, hardware cloth going up about 5.5 feet off of the ground. So lots of protection there. I think at some point I'm going to go ahead and re-support down on the bottom, and I'm going to put another layer on the inside on the ground. The problem with that is the weeds and grass can destroy it. It'll just keep pushing and pushing and pushing as the plants grow, and you're not going to be able to do anything as far as, you know, keeping it managed. So I just have the 1 layer of the 1/4 inch all the way across the bottom as of now. We'll see how it goes. Also, I buried 8 inches of it down on the ground, covered it up with extra dirt, and you can see I ran plywood and metal siding for the house that I have lots of it laying around to cover the dirt. So there I've got this 8 inches, I've got the dirt, I've got something to kind of protect it that hopefully they won't be able to move. If I see a raccoon pick up a 14-foot piece of steel and walk off with it so he can get into the chicken coops, well, I'm probably going to be dead too. So I went ahead, got the triple skins all the way around on that. I crown stapled everything to the 2x6s. Everything going up and connecting above the 2x6 is held together with zip ties. Now I did find one small area up where the coop meets the run, sorry, up where the coop meets the run, that things just didn't line up right. And I actually didn't see it till I came out here with a flashlight at nighttime and it jumped out at me. But it's about the size of the end of a 2x4, about 4 inches by 2 inches. That is basically open. Now, can a raccoon get through there? No. Can it manipulate it over time and get in? Probably. So I'm going to patch that up, of course, zip ties and hardware cloth. So that's a good thing about this setup too, is repairs are really easy. There was a repair I had to do on the other side, and I just had some extra chicken wire. It was over the chicken wire. And I just cut a small piece of chicken wire that I know would cover it, throw it up there, 4 zip ties, good to go, nothing's getting in. Actually, I think I did 8 zip ties, so they're there in all 4 corners. Besides the point, mounted it and patched the problem. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I like that it's going to be easy to fix. So let's go ahead and go down to the coop. Okay, so and the light's a little better here too, so I apologize about that. As far as the coop goes, I went ahead and ran 48 inches of hardware cloth all the way to the top. This did not have anything but chicken wire on the inside before. This is the way I did the other coop, so I went ahead and replicated it here since that was a good deal. So this one I got the cattle panel. I have it set up exactly like the front, to be honest. Except on this one, instead of using the 1/2 inch on the top, I use 1/4 inch. And the only reason I'm using these different sizes is because I had this stuff left over and I reused it from the other coop, which I used 1/2 inch on that, and then we bought 1/4 inch. I wanted a little bit finer mesh. I wish it was a little bit thicker gauge, but when you get down that small, you don't really have much of a choice. The options aren't there. Okay, so I went ahead and did that. Did cattle panel, chicken wire on top of the cattle panel, all zip ties. I didn't do any hog clamps on this one because I just didn't want to crawl in there for that. But again, if there's any issue with wind or anything like that, you know, I can definitely jump in there real quick and take care of business, which is why I kind of built it this way. Then on the outside of that, I got that, the chicken wire, and then the 1/4 inch hardware cloth, 48 inches up. So we're talking up to there is hardware cloth. So it should be pretty secure. Some of the best coops that I see built are built using hardware cloth, like pretty much everywhere. I don't like it everywhere because it's a pain in the butt to clean. If you do need to clean it, you can power wash it and stuff like that, but any grass that gets in, hay that gets stuck in there, kind of a pain in the butt, so I didn't want to do everything. Plus air circulation. This is basically enclosed front and back. The sides are all open, but I have the tarp over it. And this is the same tarp that I had on it last time, but I need a little bit of ventilation. And I cut off the top of the arch over here, so there was a gap about like that I just had chicken wire over last time, just to allow some of that heat to get out in the summertime. And unfortunately it lets the cold in the winter time because cold drops, so it's coming from the top of the coop. It's going to settle in those areas. It can get past the tarp and do that, but I do have a remedy. I'm going to move this back a little bit. I need to adjust a couple things on here, but I'm going to overhang it to the back, which is how I had it last time, and it completely sealed it. So when I had this tarp on it before, I had to fold it under because there's no size that fits a hoop coop. There's no tarp out there that's a good fit. So these are 12 by 16, I think, and it's the best size that I can get. And I ran 16 long and no more than that. No, it's got to go 16 across and then 10 long. So I did something different. I'm going to try this out. I've had a couple failures with it already, but one of the biggest problems is mounting a tarp, especially in windy areas. If you watch some of these other homesteaders that are in the Ozarks and they got these tarps, everybody has issues with it, including myself. I wish I could have shown you the remains of the tarp that was on that other coop because it was completely shredded. It was, yeah, you could barely even recognize it as a tarp, except the outside of it was actually still there. The rest was sun rotted, blown away. I got pieces of that tarp scattered all over the place. So one of the things that I did with this is I wanted to do something different. So I used boat or marine cleats with rope to hold this tarp down. Now the reason I did that is it's really easy to take on and off. You just basically loosen a couple ropes, a few ropes. I got 6 on here and I could add more. I've got 8 of them and I can always order a couple. These were like $4 for 8. So they're really cheap. Hey, worth a try, you know? So that's how I have the tarp on here. Now I will say on the 2 front ones, I have some of the hardware cloth that's bubbling out a little bit, and that caused a rub point for the rope, and the rope ended up snapping. Now this is cheap Walmart, basically. I say Walmart like we used to use generic, but just cheap nylon rope. It's not made to really do anything. So that's what I have. I just picked it up. It was in my preps actually, so I'm using a little bit of my preps for this. But it's not going to work. I'm going to have to find a better, maybe a thick paracord or something like that. But I don't want to spend a lot of money, and I would actually like to have something that is kind of sustainable around here, like cut up a little piece of extra fence and use metal and wrap it around or something like that. But I haven't gotten to that point. So that's what I did. The two front ones broke. I replaced them and it's been fine. This cleat, I think I'm going to move around like I was mentioning, and that's going to pull this whole thing back a little bit, and it should work. Now, as far as wind goes with this, well, we had one storm that got up to 50 miles an hour, and we've had multiple storms that are getting up to 30-mile-an-hour winds, and it is ripping. It's ripping through here. You don't notice how much wind you have until you have a lot of fencing outside, and you hear that wind ripping through the fence, and it just howls. Kind of cool. I kind of like that because that ain't happening in Phoenix. So yeah, that's what I got going on with the tarp. The whole build of the coop, the reconstruction of the coop. I did flip the door around out back. Let me show you that. So I flipped the door around. As you can see, this is a very different color than, you know, the outside, because this hasn't seen any sun. This was the inside, but I had to flip it around and make it to where it fits. Now it's still kind of warped, but the cuts are correct going all the way around, and it actually fits. So I'll show you inside. I think there's a breast hanging out. No. So I'm not even going to put myself in part of this video because I got to brighten it up so much because you're looking inside the coop. But I've got a box there, box there, and box all the way over in the corner. So I got 4 boxes. Anyone in there? Nope. And this one I actually just put in. So all I did is I cut. This is just one of these cheap totes that you get. And I cut a hole in it, and I just set it on the ground, set it on a bed of hay. Give them enough room to squeeze in there. And it makes a pretty good little nesting box. Now, we do both of us here at the house, in the homestead, want to get some sort of better box system. But man, they're getting a lot of money for them right now. I was looking at one at Cackle Hatchery that was a 5-gallon bucket that basically they just cut a hole in and they formed a plastic lid to go on there that works as a chicken box, a nesting box. And they're asking like $40 for it, just for like a $4 bucket and one piece added onto it. So yeah, kind of crazy. Nesting boxes are expensive. So for now, we're going to go ahead and stick with these until we get a better idea and we can actually get something that works with the door and the coop that we have. Okay, so let's talk about the dimensions. What did I end up here with? So I've got an 8-foot coop, 12-foot run, total of 20 feet long. The center of the top is 12 feet and 8 feet wide. So why did I go that big? I don't know, it sounded like a good idea. I thought it would be a little bit easier to just grab the other coop and add it on, and just kind of looked a little bit better on paper, but it did take a little bit of time. Do I regret it? No, not at all. I can walk in and stretch my hands up in the air. I got lots of room. I can use that maybe for something, use the upper area for something. You could put shelving in there, just attaching a couple pieces of 2x4 and, you know, a piece of plywood on top or something like that, and use that plumber's tape to attach it. And yeah, you could throw supplies up there. You could put a quarantine box in there. Yeah, there could be ways to use that area, but most of all, I just wanted something with room, because I was walking into the other coops and I'm just kind of doing this, and yes, I know the coops aren't made for people, but believe it or not, when you own chickens and you own a chicken coop, you're in the coop quite a bit. You know, you're doing things, you're swapping out substrate, you're feeding them, watering them, you know, it's all in the coop. So why not make it comfortable for human beings as well? And then, you know, why not just make it gigantic? Are the chickens liking it? Yes, they're loving it. They were in the coop, locked in the coop for about a week while I got everything secure enough to feel good about letting the chickens out. As soon as I could let the chickens out, I let the chickens out. But like I said, it was raining. It was like hurricane force winds. There was always something going on. So I was just coming out for about an hour. I was just doing little bits here and there. There were times that I had to get into the garden because that had to get done before planting season, which is You know, my starts aren't looking too good, but I'm learning. I'm learning my lessons right now and fixing them as I go. So I'm gonna iron a few things out this first time that I'm starting inside. But besides the point, that's not part of this video. Yes, the chicken coop, I'm happy with it. The chickens are really happy with it. We had the duck in there when I started this video. We were able to rehome my duck to a neighbor that was kind enough to take it. They have a lot of ducks. That's a happy duck now. Yeah, he gets to hang out with a whole bunch of other ducks and chickens and goats and horses and cows and all that kind of stuff. So it's a lot better than being a loner with a whole bunch of prick chickens messing with it all the time. Actually, the duck was the boss, I'm not gonna lie. The chickens are happy. I continued to run underneath the coop as well, so that whole area under there is usable, and it's a spot for dry areas. When it rains, it does get a little flooded out in spots. There's some low spots where they dig the holes and kind of work the dirt through their feathers and stuff for pest control and mites and stuff like that, which I want to add to that. I want to get a bowl or just put some 7 dust in the area that they're at, and that cuts down on the mites and it kills the mites. I've had mites in the past, so maybe it's in the land or however they're getting them, but yeah, I'm going to remedy that. I've been putting the food under there as well. I've been putting the food bowl under there as well because it has been raining. I've been leaving the water dishes. I got a water bowl and a treat bowl on the outside, and I just come out and throw a handful of mealworms or chicken scratch and oyster shells or something like that. Just kind of throw it in there and let them peck through it and use it as they need it. And if it gets wet, the good stuff is probably already going to be gone, and it's going to be left with, you know, that one weird seed in the scratch grain and a couple oyster shells. I can dump that out and fill it up again. I'm not worried about it. But the water is going to fill up with rainwater. Had some worms in it. I'm going to switch it out and give them some fresh water. I also keep a 5-gallon bucket outside uncovered to collect rainwater as well, so that way I don't have to come in here too much with a bucket of water or anything like that. Now, I redid my hosing as well for, I should have done this before the video, but I redid basically the irrigation for the back garden, and I've got a splitter right next to the chicken coop that I'm going to throw maybe a 50-foot hose or something like that. Let me show you. And the support's right here. I'm going to get some sort of a hanger or something like that to wrap the hose up on that support for the fencing. And that way I'm going to have a hose here pretty much all the time ready to go, just with a just a little valve switch or something like that. Or maybe I can even leave it on all the time if I actually get a good hose head. That just sounds dirty, don't it? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, the sprayer handle gun type thingy-majiggy. Yeah, and if that holds well, I can just leave that valve open all the time as I go through and I water what's going to be the greenhouse in the back garden and stuff like that. I'm going to constantly have water for the chickens here as well. Now, in the summer or the winter time this year, I'm going to disconnect everything and bring it all inside. Now, the hose itself is going to be okay, but I'm going to drain the water out of it. It's going to go in my garage. It's going to be like, you know, -15 instead of -18.5. So I'm not going to keep it warm at all. So I'm going to leave those. I'm going to take all the brass out. I'm going to take the fittings out, the splitters, the 4-ways, and all that kind of stuff, and put it in a warmer area, because I've been going through 1 a year of all of those, and I'm tired of buying them. So I'm going to start taking them inside so they don't crack and all that kind of stuff. Even the metal ones crack, brass, and keeping those inside. But anyway, the point is, I should have done it before the video so I could show you and have a visual, but I'm going to be hooking up a hose to that splitter, and I'm going to go ahead and just stick it up there. So I'll have that. I have stored food in there with the food bowl, so it's up and running. I mean, it's good. What do you guys think, huh? I mean, it's not pretty. It's not the McMansion of chicken coops. He was almost on cue. Yeah, not the McMansion of chicken coops, but it's large. It's going to hold, I haven't figured out the square feet, but it should hold all the chickens that we got. Yeah, my cart filled up, so I had a quick stop on what was going on. I saw the text pop on the screen. I was like, oh crap. So yeah, there you go. What do you guys think of the coop? I'm pretty happy with it so far. I need to do one patch on it and it should be smooth sailing. The door does stick a little bit, I will admit that. I gotta get a chainsaw or something and just shave a little bit off of the vertical support on the right side as you're looking at it. You know, this one right here, yeah. But other than that, yeah, she is complete, done. On to the next project. What do you guys think about it? Anything you would improve with it? Do you like the idea of it? Is it too big? I don't know. Let me know. Let me know. Thanks for coming along with me on this journey. It's been a lot of fun. I've definitely gotten to break my tools out of the dust and get some stuff built. Pretty nice. Good to swing a hammer again and good to get this done. So yeah, the chicken coop. There we go. I don't know. Maybe I should get a name for it. I was thinking something kind of deathy because the biggest massacre was actually in this coop. So I don't know. Probably not a good omen to name it. Why hang on to the bad? Move on to the good. Move on to the future. Thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate it. Check out some of my other videos. Any support for the channel is awesome. Till next time, I'll talk to you soon. Peace.